Welcome back to GBGuns Armory, and this one's a bit different. You might notice I'm in an old worn out shirt. This is from a primary arms range day, and instead of a firearm, holding up the old passport. Time to put a few more stamps in it. Tia and I are, as you're watching this, already in Germany for Ewa and Enforte. If you're not familiar with those, Ewa, or Ewa Classics, is sort of the SHOT Show of Europe. It's a bit smaller, a bit more professional, and I think also tends to be a little bit more on the hunting leaning side. However, several major manufacturers from around the globe are there, including American manufacturers and some manufacturers that are sold in the US that don't show at SHOT Show for crazy political industry reasons that I won't dive into. Don't worry, nothing bad. Just for some of these companies, it's a lot easier to be at Ewa Classics than it is to be at SHOT Show. Cheaper too. So it's long been a goal of mine. If you guys didn't know, ich war in Deutschland über 7,5 Jahre stationiert, habe ein bisschen Deutsch gelernt. I was stationed in Germany for 7.5 years, learned a bit of German. It's kind of my second language, kind of my second home, because 7.5 years of my formative young adult life was spent over there. And I haven't been back to Germany in 13 years, despite our other trips. You guys may recall Tia and I going to Austria and Slovakia in May, Slovakia to visit Grand Power, and then a couple years prior to that we went to Serbia to visit Zastava. That visiting Zastava had to get canceled due to some international intrigue going on, if you will, but we still went to Serbia anyways because we already had the tickets and said, heck, let's have a romantic week in Belgrade, because that's what everyone does, right? Anyways, long wanted to go to Ewa Classics. It's not cheap, getting there, of course, and then staying, and then taking that much time off work to make going there worthwhile. So for over a year, I've been saving to get ready for this trip. Got the tickets. We're renting an apartment in Nuremberg for a little bit more of a German living experience than staying in a chain hotel, for example. And had everything stretched out, and I had heard of Enforte, but I didn't know if there was any difference between it and Ewa Classics, or if it was just like the law enforcement section, if you will, that SHOT Show has. And then in talking with some of our European friends, like the great folks over at Polar Tactical, they said, oh no, it's a different show, and it requires its own credentials. You see, for media to get into events like these, you have to prove yourself. You have to fill out a form and cite works that you've done and things like that to warrant them giving you a media pass. The requirements are different than they are for SHOT Show. For some folks, it might be easier to get in to the European show. For others, it might be easier to get into SHOT Show. Anyways, I had gone through all this rigmarole to get my press credentials for IWA, and then learned that Enforte is a separate show that butts up. It's 3 days, and then the next 3 days are IWA, and then I would need to apply for press credentials for that as well. So I asked them what the difference is, and in looking at the websites, you can see that Enforte is definitely a military law enforcement oriented thing, including lots of stuff that, aside from it being cool, I personally don't have any interest in. It's not going to be open to civilians. But the Polar folks, Giga, said, hey, well, there's a lot of stuff that in Europe isn't legal for civilians, but in the US is. And so some manufacturers will be showing things at Enforte that they won't show at Ewa Classics, or maybe they're only at Enforce and not at IWA, and all this back and forth. Basically, you have to do both shows. So Tia and I had set this block of time for me to show her some of Germany and for us to have some vacation, and then do Ewa Classics, and then have a couple days to rest and then come home. And now that's compacted because of Enforte. Don't know how much coverage I'm going to have for you guys. This is kind of a personal trip just to have fun and see some European friends and have vacation. At the same time, there are cool things at these shows that I'd like to show you, and I have a press badge for a reason, to get in there and provide some coverage. So if you saw my SHOT Show coverage, I plan on doing something kind of similar. Don't know if we're going to do all 3 days of both shows. That's 6 days in a row of show. It's a lot of show. But we'll definitely be taking a look in there. And on this channel, no promises, but we're theorizing about kind of vlogging our travel a little bit, since that's what originally a lot of you guys asked for, was that this channel be more of a vlog lifestyle thing. Now both Tia and I are very private. We like to keep our personal lives private, so I don't know how much we're going to be showing. I also am one of those folks that feels like if you're having a great moment and you stop it to take a picture, let alone film something, you're kind of disrupting that moment. And so no promises about filming a lot, but what we might do is in the evenings give kind of a what we saw today, talk about things over there. Most of it's not going to be firearms related at all. It's just going to be travel and Germany. I spent 7.5 years there. Tia's never been there, so we're going to have two different experiences or interpretations of things. And it's been over a decade since I was there. I'm sure a lot has changed culturally, so that could be interesting as well. So look for that coming up. I will not have standard Armory videos for the duration of the time that we're there because of that. I'm filming this the night before we fly, and of course you burn the better part of a day and a half getting over there, plus the time zone and everything. So hopefully you're watching this on a Sunday, which is when we will be wondering where the heck we are and dealing with Ruhetag, an interesting southern German Bavarian cultural thing, if you will. Ruhe means quiet or still, and on Sundays, by law, things are quiet in Bavaria. It's pretty fascinating, irritating for Americans at first because we're used to go, go, go and using every moment we have to try to advance ourselves. It forces you to stop and chill for a bit. How strict is it? Well, I once had the Polizei come up to my house because I was running a Dremel in the garage, and that Dremel was too much noise. You can't run a lawnmower. They discourage using laundry machines if those are noisy. It is all about just being quiet and spending time with the family, reading, doing quiet things. It's restful for the soul. It's actually pretty nice. But we're going to be landing into that. So depending on how tired or enthusiastic we are, it could be great or it could be terrible, because pretty much the only things that are open are a few restaurants, some basic need shops, sometimes in larger cities, which we'll be in, but otherwise, southern Germany, Bavaria anyways, kind of sleeps through Sunday. So that'll be interesting. Let me know if you guys are tracking or had heard of Enforte IWA, what you'd like to see there. If I can see those comments before those days happen, we'll do our best to swing by. We have a couple industry friends that we want to see and hang out with, but that's kind of my intent there. I have mixed feelings about getting too excited and showing you too much from the show, because as much as SHOT Show has a lot of stuff that may or may not come to market, this is for the European and world market. So there might be products and even companies that we'll never see in the US. Some of that's kind of interesting and cool, but just so you know, don't get too excited about stuff you see shown over there. However, there are also companies, Bull Armory for example, does not exhibit at SHOT Show. They do at IWA Classics. And last year, that's where they showed off their 2023 line of products. So we should be seeing what's coming out in 2024. That'll be pretty cool. Looking forward to that. And some Weisswurst, some Bratwurst, some Semmeln, and of course, das Bier. That's what I've got for you today. Hope you guys have had a good weekend or are in the middle of a good weekend, and we'll see you soon. Like I said, no promises, but I'd like to try to do the travel vlog thing if it works out and we're feeling those vibes. I don't know, we're not, we prefer living a moment rather than faking or pausing or doing all the interruptions to film the moment. So, I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.